we don't allow ourselves, enough time to actually win, right? So when I hear people kind of wanted to make it, work very fast, uh, I challenge them, and I said, I mean, you haven't even given yourself a fair chance to win. I'm running a marathon right now. It's not a sprint. So it doesn't really matter how long it will take, right? That was one of the shifts, right? To understand that, I shouldn't be attached to how long it takes. Just, I know it's a matter of time.
I am now going to bring Florin on.
Hi, Mary.
Is it as hot in Sweden as it is in the UK?
It is. It's really hot. But we don't complain, right? We don't complain because it's just a couple of days a year. So we take advantage of them.
Is it really like that in Sweden as well?
Yeah, it is. And I think it's kind of the same, latitude like in Scotland. So kind of the same weather.
Oh,
okay. So past few days we had 16 degrees with rain, and now we have all of a sudden 31 degrees with sun. So
wow.
And then next week will be probably 20 again. So it's around 20 degrees in the summer. So now it's hot.
Oh my goodness! I thought that's sort of rapid fluctuation. I thought that only happened with us in the UK, to be honest. Well, thank you for coming on. It's wonderful to have you here today. Florin, if you don't mind, like I usually like my guests to just tell the audience a little bit about themselves. If you just introduce yourself and just tell us what you do and a little
Definitely.
bit.
My career started with engineering. So I've been in a career, I've been in a company. I work in two big automotive companies. I've been with Renault and Volvo cars. And that was because my father worked with cars. He's a teacher, so he teaches mechanics at a school. Right. And after finishing my primary school, he said, you're not a good boy. I want to keep an eye on you. So you should come and, and pursue your high school here at our high school so I can keep an eye on you. So that was, kind of shifted, my career from, I was more interested into electronics or stuff like that. And he said, no, you should come here. And that was, automotive. There was engines, there were cars, there were stuff that I really liked actually. And then I become to be passionate about that. And then naturally, I just follow into, university, studying the same field. And, again, naturally, I thought that it was a natural choice back then was to, go into an automotive career and start with Renault, which was, one of the biggest employers in Romania. So that's how I end up into an automotive career. But 3 years in that career, I've been offered first time to be a team manager. I didn't see myself as someone that can work with people, but I had a mentor. I have our department manager that saw in me something that I couldn't see myself. And I remember, being at one of the conferences with all the other managers at Renault, and we all got a book by John Maxwell. And then I actually have that book here. Yeah, right. So he was 360 degrees leader, right? This is a Romanian version of the book. So everybody in the conference, like all the managers, got this book, and it was funny because on the seat as we were sitting in this, big auditorium, like 600 people at the conference. There were two ladies sitting, on the row in front of me, and they actually went on and read the book during the conference. And I said, wait a minute, this must be an interesting book because they were reading the book right there. And I found it funny. And I asked them, was it good, the book? And they said that it was really good. And I said, okay, now maybe this will be a really good book for me. So just this introduced me to John Maxwell and his work and introduced me to personal development. And I got, passionate about it. And it's kind of sparked in me this interest in working with people and understanding people. I used to say that when you think about, intuition and this sixth sense that you women have a lot more developed than us men, I used to have...
You know what? I'm glad you acknowledge that. I
mean, it's the truth, right? It's the
true.
truth. So,
it's true.
Yeah. So I had this conversation with my wife. We've been to maybe parties or meetings, and then she asked me, what do you think this person said? I was saying, what do you mean? She said what she said. No, I think she had another meaning, and I couldn't see anything. I was engineer, when you work with cars or with systems, if you give the same command to that car 2 times, you get the same result. But when it comes to
Absolutely.
people, we are a
Yes.
lot more complex machines. And what happens is that if I, you know, uh, expose you to the same stimuli twice, you might have two different results, two different reactions. So that was kind of, revealing to me. I said, okay, so people might mean different things. And communication is not only the words we say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, okay, so then it's a lot. There is a lot more to this, and I got interested in the subject. Right, I got interested in John Maxwell team. I attended a couple of events, and then both me and Florina, my wife, we got certified with a John Maxwell team in 2015 in Florida, in the United States, and it kind of opened up the horizon for us. But
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you in a minute. We'll
sure.
carry on with your story, but I just wanted to just very some quickly. Just that's very interesting. So here you are, you're an engineer, and
Hmm.
that happens a lot in companies. Where
Definitely.
IT engineers get introduced to leadership,
Hmm.
and they just think, well, I'm a wonderful engineer, so I'll be a wonderful manager. But they're two completely different ball games. And I think in your case, you were quite fortunate, I would say, that you had a mentor who
Hmm.
mentored you, and that's awesome that the whole company decided to read a book. So there was obviously a desire for growth in that company, which is fantastic. But what I want to ask you is, how do you think it happened? Because obviously, I know you say your father encouraged you to go down the route of engineering,
Yeah.
but why do you think it is? Was that looking back now on
Hmm.
hindsight? Would you say there was always maybe something in you that wanted to work with people, or how did you, because you could have been introduced to that position of leadership,
Yeah.
and it might not have sparked this desire in your heart to work with people. Where do you think that came from?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. And if I look back right now, so I remember myself. Actually, it's funny when I say this to people. They think it's funny. I don't remember much of my early years of my childhood. So before kind of the age of 10, I don't remember much of that. So I don't know how was I there, but I can remember seeing a picture from my kindergarten. I was the shy guy, a little bit taller than the others, and sitting in a corner of the picture, right, like looking down. So I was really shy. Me, reciting or reading a poem or something in front of the class was torture, right? So I didn't see myself like being outgoing, and asking
Wow.
a girl for a date again was, wow, it was scary. So I'm not sure where these shifts happened, but I think I remember when I was playing football in my all the summer breaks. We used to spend this in the countryside in Romania, and there were a lot of children same age as me, and we used to play football like almost every day. And I was the guy kind of being good at reading people and see how people work together in a team. So I was the one not choosing the best players, because I know that the most talented players were not the best team players. And so
Uh-huh.
this is where I kind of, because I was good. I was good at coordinating people on the field, and also good at choosing teams, because I knew these people might not be so talented, but they work very well together. So probably was something in me, but I have not been introduced to this. I wouldn't see myself as someone being good at working with people, but obviously there was something there. They saw something in
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's awesome, to be honest. That somebody could, and that's the role of a mentor, really. That's the
Definitely,
role of
yeah.
a leader, a true leader. A true leader looks at the people that they're leading and is able to identify their potential and
Hmm.
empower them to actually become what they're supposed to be. Empower them to actually live into or grow into that potential. So now, was it easy for you? Because obviously you had been in the technical field, and you had
Right.
been, you were used to it. So that was your comfort zone, as
Yeah.
it were. So
Yeah.
were there any struggles for you, or was it just easy when you now were stepping into management and working more with people?
It was actually the biggest challenge that I had. It was that I all of a sudden became the leader of the kind of the team that I was part of, right? not exactly my team, but if you think about in the department, we were 3 teams that we all work together on different projects. So we could have a person or 2 person from each of the team working on one project. So we have a project team, and then we have the groups. And then I was part of group A, and then all of a sudden I become manager of group B. So all of my people in my group, were my peers, right? And then it was really difficult for me to, kind of establish myself as a leader, because they tell me, oh, Florin, but you know how it goes here. I mean, you cannot now you change your position. Now you are on the other boat, right? and that was kind of, I think, the biggest challenge, right? Because I had to now, wear my manager hat, and I have to, earn my respect with them.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that wasn't easy, actually.
Yeah. No, you're one of the guys. Come on, you're now. I know you've been made a manager, but you're one of us, kind of thing. So I can imagine that would have
Exactly.
been difficult. But did you? I think what I'm trying to find out is,
Hmm.
was it easy for you to accept that, or did you struggle? Did you want to continue down the role of engineering, or did you accept that shift? Because that was a big shift in your life, that point in time. Was it easy for
Definitely.
you to accept that shift, or did
I,
you want to just continue down the engineering route?
I think I was actually, I say this because when you think about Romania and countries like that, which are still developing, right? I cannot compare that with Sweden, because we didn't have anything given. So I was a fighter. I needed to fight for everything. I needed to fight for a place in the university where you don't have to pay a tuition, right? There were a limited number of places that were paid by the government. So there was a competition all the time. So I kind of wanted to be rewarded somehow from my engineering work. So I think I embraced that position. So it was not a conflict. It was difficult. I knew I can do that. I couldn't
Right.
see myself there, but I knew I can do it. And honestly, I also, I kind of liked, because it was a better pay, and I said, okay, let me
Aha.
let
Okay.
me let me make this happen, because this will allow me to take the next step in my career, right? I was a career builder. I mean, I was climbing. That was my goal, right? And we were in you know fast expanding young organization. And then there is a young organization, there's a lot of opportunities for people that are consistent.
Yeah,
So
no, no, now, nothing. Now you've answered my question. That's what I wanted. I wanted to find out so basically there was a reward that you were looking at. There was an end goal. There was something you wanted to accomplish, which made it easy for you, even though you were in that place of your comfort zone. There
yeah.
was a goal that you were focusing on that made it easy for you to make that shift. That's what I really wanted to get that out, because most of the time there are people who are stuck in, and like I said before you joined us, I don't want to call it comfort zone anymore, because there's nothing there's nothing comfortable about it. I want to call it the stock zone. So there are lots
Mm,
of people who are in the stock zone, and they can see, just like you, that there could be something better ahead, but they're
mhm.
playing this game of pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. So they see pleasure ahead, but they are misconstruing where they are right now as their present pleasure, when it's actually pain, because they can see something better ahead. But they're
Yeah.
not allowing themselves to be motivated enough, or to be motivated enough to step out of that stock zone, so they can actually experience that goal, that picture that they can see, to actually be able to step into that. But you were able to do it. I mean, you say you are a fighter anyway, so I'm sure that was something that came to play, that enabled you to just say, you know what, I want the results, I'm going to go for it. But before
Definitely.
we carry on in your story, Florin, could
Hmm.
you just maybe speak to somebody who maybe did not have that natural disposition to
Hmm.
fight? What would, if and they find themselves in this stock zone and they know there's something better, what would you say to them to actually help them get unstuck?
Yeah, right. We call it comfort zone, but I call it was my reality, right? My reality was that I grew up in a, I would not say poor family, but just middle class working family, right? And we didn't have any rich relatives. We didn't have people in the Communist Party. We didn't have people in the in politicians that could help us, move forward or accelerate our growth. And we kind of had to fight our own way. And I think before becoming aware that we are in a comfort zone and there are things that we could do, we have to acknowledge that what we see around us, it's a reality that we have created, and that's not true, right? Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
because the truth is that we can achieve almost anything we want to achieve. It's just we need a little bit of courage to pursue it, right? And
Right.
and and,
Right.
and to answer your question, because it was a kind of a long leap now to come back to what I would say to someone, I wanted just to give that, because sometimes we are not aware that we are in a comfort zone, and we just say, yeah, but that's impossible for me, right? And what I would say to people is that you do whatever you can do from where you are. And what I've done was that, I remember myself commuting 25, 30 minutes a day in the morning, and another 30 minutes in the afternoon. And I was using that time to read something. I was using that time to listen to something. When I was driving, I would listen to audiobooks or tapes, right? So what I'm saying is that I know this dream of yours sounds big and it looks big and you don't know where to start. But if you have 5 minutes, if you know that you could improve on, let's say, sales, right? Whatever business, whatever dream you have, you need to learn how to sell it, right? You either want to
Absolutely.
sell your idea, right? You want to sell your idea to maybe gather, investment, or have people on your team, or just sell your products or service. You need to sell. So why don't you maybe start with 5 minutes a day, and those 5 minutes, put them into learning a skill that will help you, get out of your comfort zone and pursue your
Yeah.
dream. Because
Yeah.
I understand, if I will tell you, Mary, could you put, like, 1 hour a day into learning a new skill, and you'll be easy to say, oh, Florin, I don't have 1 hour,
Yep.
right? But if I tell you 5 minutes, it's hard to argue that you don't have
It's
5 minutes,
doable.
right?
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. 2 points you made there. One about the need for growth.
Mm,
And I don't know if anybody listening to me, if you know a different way that you can go from where you are to your potential, please let me know. But I know there is absolutely no other way apart from growing into it. You grow into it. You grow in awareness. You grow in strength. You grow in skills. You just have to grow. Because, Florin, you were talking about reality. So for a lot of people, you say, well, I don't have a choice.
mm-hmm.
What can I do? This is my reality. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, there are lots of people who started off saying exactly what you're saying, and they said, this is my reality, but they didn't remain there. So we have too many examples of people who have broken out of that thing you're calling reality. Too
Yes.
many examples of those people that you can look to and say, actually, it's not really my reality. It's just where I am right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to accept it as my reality. If I want more, I can definitely go for more. So that's number one. Just realizing that that place you have called your reality, it's not true. It might be a fact, but it's not the truth, that
Mm-hmm.
you have to be stuck there. The other thing is, the only way that you're going to move from there is to accept that you need to grow. You need to grow, and that's what you're talking about, Florin. So it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. First of all is awareness. I always say the key to getting from here to there is awareness. You have to be aware of what you want, so you have to be aware of where there is. You also have to be aware of where here is, and you have to be aware of what you need to get from here to there, and then start, whether it's baby steps, whether it's leaps you can do, whatever you can do. And that's what you're saying. You just need to take that next step, take that next step, take that next step. And before you know it, you're where you wanted to be a few years ago. I mean, if I never did that, I would still be running my law practice, which wasn't bad, to be fair. It was a
Mm-hmm.
profitable business. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to be and do something else. But by initially, I started with 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
1 hour a day investing in my training and coaching business, 1 hour, and then gradually it was 2 hours, and then I was doing half a day
Mm-hmm.
until I'm where I am right now, where that is my full-time job. So it's just a question of starting. But if you never start, you will never know, you will never grow. So that's really, really great, two great points. So I know I interrupted you, the flow of your
Mm-hmm.
story. So you got certified with the John Maxwell team, and I know that you and your wife now moved from Romania to Sweden, where you now reside. So tell us, how did that move come about? What prompted it, and how easy, how difficult was that?
Yeah, and I mean that there was a great point, and you extracted very well, what I share there. And we talk about comfort zone, and I think we've been in our comfort zone, as a couple, me and my wife, until it was not comfortable anymore.
Mm,
What happens is that what we saw around us was very easy. So you get into a school, you graduate, you get a job, then you take a loan to buy a car and a house, and then you have a child, and there you sit, right?
and then
And
you
for
die.
me, that was exactly what I wanted to say. For me,
Oh
say,
my
okay, so I'm 25, and I'm retired, right? That was a nightmare for me. And since we haven't seen anything else, we were actually on that road, right? We had
God.
jobs, we worked hard for climbing a career, and then we realized we didn't spend time together, and we ended in a relationship that we didn't really want it. So we said, now we have to make a change. We have to do something, because the direction we worked, long hours. We only lived, our life on weekends, and that weekends was many times we were visiting our parents, and then there is very little time for us. We wanted to change something. It was a discontent, because you mentioned, going out of your comfort zone, because there is something out there that you want, which
Mm,
gives you kind of reward or pleasure, right? And we know that we get out of our comfort zone, we are either drawn by the pleasure, or pushed by the discontent, right?
yes,
And in
yeah.
our case, moving from Romania to Sweden was a discontent. So we ended up
Mm,
in a situation where we didn't spend time with each other. We didn't have time for ourselves. We were working too many hours to make money that we didn't have time to spend. So then we say,
yeah,
okay, let's shift the balance and have more time for us. And that's why we kind of pursue this idea of
yeah.
coming to Sweden.
Yeah, no, no. I want to quickly, because I know we're fast running out of time. We always do on this program because there's always so much to talk about. But again, that's another brilliant point you made, Florian, about the fact that we're either pushed out of our comfort zone because it gets too uncomfortable for us. If you think about a chick waiting to get hatched, that's how they get hatched, because they grow and they grow and they grow. And then
Yeah.
it's too uncomfortable, and they crack those shells and they come out. It's
Mhm.
either that, or the pull from what we can see, i.e., the emerging future. We can see the pull is so strong that it kind of pulls us out of our comfort zone. And it's funny that both of us represent those two. So for
Yeah.
you, it was the uncomfortableness of your comfort zone. We
Yeah.
don't want this life for us. But for me, I was fine, to be honest with you. I was fine where I was. I've always managed to have that harmony between work and my family. So it wasn't anything suffering. Nothing was
Mm.
suffering. But for me, it was the pull. It was this idea of me really living my potential, because I know that my gift is teaching. My passion is empowering people. And because I had tasted and seen how sweet it can be, the reward of being able to do that, I wanted to do that more. So for me, it was the pull. But either way, the important thing is that you actually allow either the push or the pull to actually propel you forward. Take that next step. That's the important thing. Take that next
Definitely.
step. That
And
is
that
awesome.
happened. And that
Yeah, go
happened
on.
actually in the second part of my story, when I transitioned from the career into entrepreneurship, and providing my services, and building products. That was my pleasure, because I like working with people, and I found myself in a place where I couldn't work more with people, and transition from working with projects, or working with people, part of my work, and kind of really developing people. And that was where the pleasure, or the dream, pulled me out, right? So first
Right.
first part was the discontent from Romania to Sweden, and then from corporate career to entrepreneurship. That was the pleasure. I saw that I
Yes.
could do more, right? And then that was I said, okay, like you, I want to do more of
Yeah.
this. Why why
Yeah.
why not?
Why not? Why not?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Why not? Why do I have to settle? Why do I have to manage my life? Why can't I have what is the desire of my heart? Because I really believe that when a desire comes into your heart, it's because you're supposed to live it out. and it gets very frustrating where you have a desire and you're unable to actually live it out. So especially when it's you failing because you don't want to take a step. So, guys, if you have a desire of your heart right now, just take the next step. What's the next thing you can do? It doesn't have to be a big plan, it doesn't have to be a big step. What's the next one thing you can do that will move you closer to your goal or your dream? Just take that step. Now, you said there was a question that dropped in your heart, Florin. That question, is this all there is to it? Or
Yeah.
what was the question
Is
exactly?
this as good as it gets,
Is
right?
this as good as it gets? At what point did that question occur to you?
Yeah, that actually occurred to me when we were in Romania, because that was kind of, we were heading towards that kind of retirement job or retirement life. I mean, we had bought an apartment, we had a car, then, I mean, the next thing was to have a child, and then we could retire. So we thought
Mm,
that, I mean, is this as good as it gets, right? Because we got introduced to John Maxwell and, personal development while we were still in Romania. We attended, there is a Romanian part of the John Maxwell team, and we attended a couple of events there, and we kind of tasted and said, okay, so this is actually better than what we have around us. These are the kind of people that we want to be close to, and that
mm,
drawn us, towards being part of, this personal development industry. And when we ask ourselves that question, is this as good as it gets, then it actually pushed us to do something about it, right? To try something. I mean, we're still young. What do we have to lose? That was 5 years
mm.
ago, but we said we don't keep anything in Romania because we don't want to have a reason, to go
To
back.
come
We
back.
don't
Mm.
want to have a easy way out. So we kind of set ourselves for a win,
Yeah.
because
So
sometimes
basically, for you, it was we either win or we win.
that was, I
we
mean,
make it we make it work or we make it work. And sometimes you have to be like that, where it's like there's no option but to win. And so that sets you up to win, like you say, because you see you're not then looking at the things that are going to prevent you from winning, because your eye is set like a flint. I'm going to win. So all those things that are not going to feed your winning or empower your winning, you very easily just eliminate them. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to think about that. I'm only focused on winning. I'm only going to set my eye, my heart, my attention on what's going to make me win. So that another point you made about the importance of the environment. So last week on the program, I was talking about how important it is for us to remain in the right environment. You talked about the fact that where you were at the time, it was just easy for you to be there because you did what everybody else around you did. That the role models you saw were doing the exact same thing. So it was easy for you to follow that path. But we need to understand, especially now we're in the World Wide Web, it's so
hmm
easy to deliberately seek out people that will fire you up, that will fan into flame your desires, that will empower you to be, do, and have what is in your heart to do. So we don't have to limit ourselves to the physical environments we find ourselves anymore. You can just step out of your room and get on your phone, and you're in another world. It's so easy. So it's so easy to plant yourself in the right environment, is what I'm saying, and that is key. That is absolutely important. Florin, thank you so much for joining us. We're almost out of time, but I'm going to ask you, what's been the biggest challenge and the biggest reward since you stepped out of your comfort zone to actually become an entrepreneur? So I'm not necessarily just talking about moving from Romania to
yeah.
Sweden now. I'm talking about actually making that shift from employee to entrepreneur. What's been the biggest challenge and what's been the biggest reward for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was actually, I think is to believe in myself. Because people told me, just jump and maybe build your wings, and that depends on the circumstances, right? I will never advise someone to do that, directly, because there are things. If you have, maybe
Yeah,
children, you have a family, you're responsible to people, right? You have to
yeah.
consider that you never kind of demolish, tear down the old house before you build the new house. So I kind
Mm-hmm.
of, build my confidence on the way. So for 3 years, from 2016 to last year, actually, in parallel, actually, I had my job and I was doing,
Right.
my business, right? Because I
Yeah.
needed to build that confidence. And what happens is that we have an expectation of how quick, how fast it will go. And then I say, oh, it's just, in 6 months I will start my business. And
Mm,
no, it's not six
no,
months, right?
no.
It's probably 2 years. And
Ah,
and and what
tell me
happens is
about
that
it.
we don't allow ourselves, enough time to actually win, right? So when
Mm,
I hear people kind of wanted to make it, work very fast, uh, I challenge them, and I said, I mean, you haven't even given yourself a fair chance to win. Like,
mm,
if you have this expectation, because when you think about disappointment, right? That's the gap between expectation and reality,
in
right?
reality, yeah.
So if my expectation is that I will do, whatever turnover I want to do in my business in 6 months, and I don't do it, then I get disappointed and I lose all
Yeah,
my confidence. But if
yeah.
I'm aware that these things that I want to, I'm in the long term game, right? I'm running a marathon right now. It's not a
Yes,
sprint. So it doesn't
yes.
really matter how long it will take, right? But that was kind of, you asked me what was the biggest shift. That was one of the shifts, right? To understand that, I shouldn't be attached to how long it takes, right?
Mm.
I know it's a matter of time. When I hear people say,
Oh, that is
if
so
I get
good. That is so good.
if I get this, if I get this client, and I said, wait a minute. I stopped them and I said, you replace the word if with when, right? Because it's not if I get, when
Mm.
I get that
Yeah,
client. Because
yeah,
then
yeah.
then it's not a question if you get it or not. It's just a matter of time.
That is such an important point about not giving ourselves the opportunity to win. That is such an important point because discouragement is just draining and it just prevents you from taking the next step. And people do get discouraged because they've thought to themselves, it will take off within 6 months, it will take off within a year or whatever.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think if you say to yourself, I'm going to win or I'm going to win, of course, there might be times you have to change the plan. I always say that,
always.
because if something's not working, there's no point just keeping at it. They said the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So we may have to change our plan. We may have to tweak things here. We may have to change our focus. We may have to just do lots of changes. But if you keep your goal in sight, it's only a matter of time. If you remain diligent and consistent and you keep doing what you know you need to do, it's only a matter of time you're going to achieve it. So that is so important to know that, it might not happen as quickly as you want or even how you want, but it will happen. It will happen. That is so encouraging, so encouraging. So I
Definitely.
really, really appreciate that.
It's, again, you give yourself that, chance to win. Because if you say,
Mm,
I will try this for 6 months, I mean, come on, six
no,
months, you don't even know where you're at,
Be-
right?
yeah, you haven't even started to learn all the things that you have to learn, and that's this idea of continued personal growth and just continued growth because I keep saying because we're adults, we expect that we should just know. We expect that okay, because I'm an adult, I'm starting a business, I should just know what to do. I should just be able to win. I should just be able to succeed. But there's so much to learn, so much to learn. It doesn't matter the kind, even in your field, assuming you're an accountant and you've been employed as an accountant for 15 years, when you start your own business as an accountant, there's still a lot to learn. I found that even when I started my law practice, there was still lots to learn. So there is always things to learn. And I think if we just give ourselves that opportunity to win, I really love that statement. Just give yourself the opportunity to win. Don't write yourself off too quickly. Don't
Yeah,
write yourself off too quickly. Florin, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. I usually have a set of questions I ask, but I'm not going to have time to ask all of them. But I will ask you, what is your definition of success?
wow. I think that, because this is what I wanted to share with you when you asked me what was the biggest benefit. I think because one of my core values is kind of freedom. I mean, the biggest benefit is to, you know, owning my time. If today it's a nice weather and it's nice to go out, I don't have to go in a work. I don't have to go on a schedule. I can choose to, be with you on this call right now because I know I can reschedule things around
Yeah,
what I do, right? So the definition of success, I think this is this is very personal from one person to another, right?
absolutely.
In
Yeah.
the beginning, at one time was, a certain amount of income because that was, I could create a certain comfort, level around myself, my family, right? to be able to support my loved ones. And I think, that changes little by little, and now it's to be able to kind of enjoy, life and enjoy moments. I think this COVID crisis helped me understand, because I was running 200 kilometers per hour. I was, in March, I was, killing it. But then it was just kind of a break for me. I said, oh, wait a minute. So I can do things in a different way, still get results and do not burn out, and have time with my family.
Yes.
And now more and more, time with my family, creating memories with my loved ones becomes part of my success map. And of course, serving people and helping them, see beyond what they could see, right? Be that mentor, be that coach in other people's life, like I had, my mentor back then. So
Awesome.
that was kind of my short definition of success.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that is like you say, it's personal for everyone, which is why I always ask the question. I want to know what it means to you. But that's you've encapsulated it very well. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. I mean, you've dropped so many nuggets that I know anybody who listens to this, or who's on right now, will be able to take away and be able to apply to their own lives. So I just want to say
Thank you
thank
for
you again.
having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for joining in. Now, if you have not liked the video, please do so. Oh, I forgot to remind you to share, but you can still share it and people can watch the replay. Yeah, people can watch the replay. Thank you again for joining us. We're back same time, 2 p.m. next Saturday on Future Fit. And help us spread the word. Invite somebody else along next time. Take care, enjoy the warm weather, and see you next time. Bye bye, everyone.